Okay, so good afternoon all. In today's lecture, we will see what is meant by array. Array chapter we have divided into three different sections. First is one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array, and strings. Okay, and experiment list also we have divided array into three sections, that is one-dimensional, two-dimensional array, and string. Yes, so we have to start our session. Is the screen is visible to everyone? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. So let's start. First, create our one source code file. Save it using some name, suppose array 1, then C source type, and save it. Great. So array1.c. So first we will take the conceptual part. So what is array? That is the first question. So what is the array in C language? Okay. So array is a derived data type. Great. So array is also a data type, and which type of data type? Derived data type. Means array is inherited. Derived means inherited from other data types such as built-in or user-defined data types. For example, suppose we want to store. Okay, before that, array. What is the use of array? Array data type is used to store homogeneous data elements or numbers together in a single entity called as a array. Okay, so this is the use of the array. So what array? Array is a derived data type which stores homogeneous data elements or members together in a single entity, and that single entity is called as array. So guys, in array we have to store only homogeneous data element. Homogeneous. Homogeneous means same type data. Same type data means what? Suppose we want to store roll numbers of all FY A division students. Okay, so what is our aim? We want to store all the roll numbers of FY A division student. So we know the number is in the integer form. Yes, and everyone's roll number is in the form of integer only, not in the form of character or not in the form of floating point number. That's why we want to store all the roll numbers. So use roll number array and give the size. Suppose there are 58 students. So roll number integer roll number 58. So this is called as the array declaration. Okay, so this is called as array declaration. And guys, this is a one-dimensional array declaration. So how to declare the one-dimensional array? What is the syntax? What is the syntax? Syntax is data type, then name of the variable, then subscript, square bracket. This square bracket is called as subscript operator, and specify size here. Okay, size must be constant. Okay, and which we have to specify at the starting of the creating array. Must, we cannot make it as a empty. Okay, so guys, size is a always constant, so you have to specify how much size we want to give to that particular array. So how to, what is the syntax? Array syntax. How to create the array? What is the syntax? First write the data type. Data type must be primitive, that is integer, float, double, long, character, like this, or it is user defined. User defined means it is a struct union type def, like this. So data type, then the name of the variable, you have to give any name to the array name, then give the size inside the square bracket. This square bracket is called as the subscript operator. This is a technical term. So square bracket is called as subscript operator. Yes. So let's start with the other, that is types of array. So there are basically two types of array. One is one dimensional array and second one is a multi dimensional array. So there are two types of arrays. One is one dimensional array and other one is the multi-dimensional. Multi-dimensional means array having more than one dimension. More than one means 2, 3, 4. Yes, it is valid. So these types of arrays are called as the multi-dimensional array. Okay, so this is the basic information of the array. So what is array? Array is a derived data type which stores homogeneous data elements together in a single entity called as the array. Homogeneous means same type data. Guys, non-homogeneous means one is integer, one character, one float. We cannot store it into the single array. For that we have to create different arrays. For example, here we have to create integer. If you want to store the float value together, for example marks, suppose marks are in the float, so and how many marks? 58 students marks. So at that time we have to choose data type float. But here in the float array we have to store only floating point elements, not character type or integer type. Understood? Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have to open our list of modified function chapter one dimensional array. So these are the problem statements. Okay. So these others are for the extra practice at the time of lab session. You have to try for this. First, in these theory sessions, we have to cover that much. Okay, so first implement a C program to read 5 elements of a one-dimensional array and display those with their index on the output screen. So read elements at both compile time and runtime. Great. So this is a very basic program. So we will do that one. So this is the problem statement. So as per the problem statement, we have to implement. The first step is hash include stdio.h, that is including the header file. Next thing, we have to create our main function int main parenthesis. After that, complete the curly brackets. Okay, now write the body of main function here. So what is our aim? First, we have to implement a C program to read 5 elements of one-dimensional array, and the elements are suppose in integer type. So first declare the array. So how to declare it? It is integer array. So int, give the name to that array. Suppose array 1. This is the name of the array. Then what is the size of the array? Give the size to that array. We have to read the 5 elements and stored into one-dimensional array and display those elements with their index. So what is index? We will see that. So this is called as the first step, that is called as array declaration. Great. So guys, next thing, we have to read the elements at both compile time and runtime. What is the meaning of that? Read the elements. Okay, read the elements. Just copy that. So read the elements at both compile time as well as runtime. Means this array we have to initialize. This is called as declaration, array declaration. The values are not initialized to this array. So there are two ways to initialize the elements to the array at compile time and at runtime. So first we have to choose compile time. So how to compile time initialization of this array means we have to give the value, assign the value to this array using curly brackets. Write the values, for example, suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. So this is the, now this is called as array initialization, not a declaration, because values are assigned to that array. So it is called as array initialization. So it is called as array initialization. Great. Now read the elements means we have to read, assign the values to the array at compile time. This is called as array initialization at compile time. Okay, so we have to assign the values to the array1 at the compile time itself. Great. So this is the syntax. Write equal to, assign the value, not a single value, it is an array, so it is a multiple values. So assign the values by using curly brackets, separate the values by using comma operator. Great. And the end of the statement, this is array initialization statement. So at the end of the statement, write semicolon. Great. So after reading the values, we have to display it on the console or our screen with their indices. Great. So guys, always remember one thing. Whenever you have to use single one-dimensional array, one loop is required. And for our sake of convenience, we have always used for loop. So use for loop. Take one variable I starting from 0 because array index always starts from 0. Then I less than equal to 4 because total size of elements are 5. So 0 to 4 elements are there that are called as indices. So I plus plus. Great. Here I is indicates the index of that array1. Guys, in array, this first element is at the index 0. This second element is at the index 1. Third element is at the index 2. Fourth element at the index 3. And fifth element is at the index 4. Guys, always remember that if the size of array is 5, so we have to store maximum 5 elements, but the index of that array is started with 0. Always starts with 0. So last element's value is size minus 1. Size minus 1. That is here size is 5. Array size is 5 minus 1. That is 4. So last index is 4. Yes, great. So we have to execute this loop how many times? 5 times. So 0 to 4. And what we have to print? Printf. First we have to print value. Value is equal to %d at the index %d, because index and the value, these are the variable part, others are constant. So instead of this variable part, we have to write their variable name. So value, where is the value? At the array 1 and the index I, comma. So array 1 in the subscript operator I gives you actual value. So what is the actual value? If it is i's value is 0, then array 1 of 0 gives you which value? 1, like this. And just I will print here initial index is 0. Guys, always remember that array index starts with 0. Now, this is the aim, to display the values with their respective indices at compile time. So we have to do that, then return 0. That means successfully termination of main program or main function. Great. So just save it using array 1 or array 2, second program is there, and choose the source type as a C source type, save it. Great. Now it's time to compile the file. Oh no, it gives you error. So there is a spelling mistakes. What is invalid pre-processing directory hash include? So spelling is different. So hash include. Great. Second error is I undeclared. First declared it before use. So we have to use I, but we have not initialized or declared it. So must declare. So this is called as the variable declaration. Great. Now let's save it, compile it again. So there is no errors, no warnings. Great. So it's time to run our program and check the value. Value is equal to 1 at the index 0, but it is on in the same single line. So what is required? We have to give /n here. So each and every line is given at the next line. So this is the output. Value 1 at the index 0, value 2 at the index 1, value 3 at the index 2, like this. Great. So indexes starts from 0 to size minus 1, and values we have to print by using name of the array 1, then give subscript operator and specify the index. Which index? I. Here I is used, variable is used for index of that particular array. Yes, guys, any doubts till this? Yes, any doubts? Any doubts till this?
No, sir.
Okay, so this is what at the compile time array initialization and displaying values of array with their index at compile time. So next thing is runtime. How to initialize the array at runtime? How to take the values for the array at runtime? So I have just declared the array. So this is array declaration. Okay. So make the some changes. First change is that have to take the values of that array for that array, not at the compile time, not statically. We have to take the values at the runtime itself. Runtime means what? At the runtime, execution time, when user enters the value at the execution time. So great. So let's how to take it. So give the message, first message, printf, enter the values for array. So this is the message for the users. Then whenever we have to initialize the array, we require loop. Most of time we have to use for loop because it is easy for us for interpretation. Great. So take the values and initialize to that particular array. We have to use for loop. Yes. For I is equal to 0, I less than equal to 4, then I plus plus to the square curly brackets. Inside the curly bracket, we have to write the code for scan the values from the user at the runtime. So scanning, which statement is there? Scanf. In scanf, write %d, where we have to save it at the address of array 1 of I. Okay. So guys, we have to take the values from the user and that value at the runtime which is saved at the address of array 1 of I. Yes. So write this statement. So this statement, how many times this scanf statement is executed? 5 times. And the elements are saved at the address of array 1.0, array 1.1 like this. Okay. So this is called as array initialization at runtime. At runtime. Great. Because we have not statically assigned the array, we have to take it from the user. User can assign any value at the runtime to that particular array. Great. So first compile it. No error, no warning. So run it. So enter the value for array. So first I have entered 10, then 20, then 30, then 40, and fifth location value is 50. And when I have pressed the enter, then this is the message: value is equal to 10 at the index 0, value is equal to 20 at the index 1, like this. Great. So this is our first problem statement based on the one-dimensional array, and it is array initialization at compile time and run time, and display the array elements with their index. So just I here is used for the array index, which represent array index, and array 1 in the subscript operator I, it gives you actual value at that array index. Great. Guys, hope you understand. Yes, only change is we have to take the values at the runtime itself from the user. Okay. Yes, any doubts? Yes, any doubts till this?
No, sir.
Great. So just I will share that code with you in the chat window. So you can go and refer that. Okay. Next. So what is the next problem statement? So implement a C program to find the sum of all the elements in one-dimensional array. So this is the problem statement. Okay. So let's take another file. Yes. Write the problem statement here. So implement a C program to find the sum of all the elements in the one-dimensional array. So what we have to do? We have to first initialize the array. We have two ways, either at the compile time or at the run time. Great. And then make the sum of that all the elements in that array. So guys, start with hash include, then stdio.h, and our main function. So main, integer main, give the curly bracket as per the syntax. Great. So first we have to initialize or declare the array int. So name of the array. So you have to take any name to that array. Array sum. This is the name of the array. Then give size. So how many elements? So 5 elements we have to declare. Great. This is called as array declaration. This is called as array declaration. Great. After the array declaration, we have to use loop for take the variable I, start from 0, I less than equal to 4 because 5 elements are there. So indices are ranged from 0 to 4. Then I plus plus. Great. Yes. Whenever we have to use the any variable, declare that variable. So integer I have to declare it. Great. So guys, here I is a simply a primitive data type variable, but array sum is a array type of data type. Okay. Array, how indicates array? Subscript operator indicates it is a array. Great. So let's give the message first before for loop, because we have to give message only once. Enter 5 elements. Great. So we have to give the message to the user that enter 5 elements. Next, what we have to do? We have to scan that. So use scanf. Inside scanf, use %d, comma, name of ampersand. Give ampersand, then array name, that is array sum, and give index I. So guys, here we can take the values and initialize the array initialization at runtime. Okay, so we have to initialize the array at runtime. Next, now values are assigned to this array sum starting from index 0 to 4, and that elements value which user enters at the runtime is assigned and saved on that array sum. Now what we have to do? We have to make the addition of that element. So for that, again we have to use one any type of manipulation when we done on the array. If it is one dimensional array, one loop is required. If it is two dimensional array, minimum 2 loops are required. Okay, so understood that part. So I 0, I less than equal to 4, I plus plus. Great. Next, what we have to do? We have to make the sum. So sum, take one variable sum. Sum is equal to sum plus. Okay, so sum is an intermediate variable where we have to save the intermediate result, and final result is also saved into same variable sum. So where is the values? Values are in the array sum. Array sum is the name of the array. Which index? I, because I starts from 0 to 4, and that values are added into some variable. So we have to declare some variable sum is equal to initialize to 0. Great, because otherwise it having some garbage value, it gives the different result. So before using sum, we have to initialize it to the 0. Great. Next thing, what we have to do? We have to printf sum of all array elements is equal to %d. And where is the sum? In the sum variable. So just display it. Last statement is return 0. Great. Let's check once again if anything is remaining. Okay, so give the name to that array as array sum, then choose the type as a C source type and save it. Now it's time for compile your code and check whether there is any error warning is there. No error, no warning. Now it's time for execute your program. So enter 5 elements, that is your first statement. Now cursor is blinking to take the values from the user at the runtime. So I have provided first 10 value which is saved into array sum of 0th index when I press the enter. Second 20 value when I press the it is saved. Third 30, then 40, then 50, and then press enter. I have to give the sum of all array elements is equal to 150. So once we have completed, yes, it is 150. So our output is correct and the program is terminated with return value 0. That means successfully termination of our C program. Great. And what is the time taken? 30.12 seconds. This is the time taken to execute this program. Guys, any doubts till this? Yes. Yes. If you have any doubts, please ask. Unmute yourself and ask the questions if you have any doubts. Okay. Hope you understand. Now I have to debug this code. Debugging. So for debugging, I have to give toggle breakpoint to this first line. Then, okay, first before that, I have to first compile it, then give the toggle breakpoint, then choose the option debug. Okay, so its execution is started, step-by-step execution. So I have to give the some add watch for array variable I, then variable sum. Okay, so here guys, if you observe array of 5 elements, so how it is given 4 comma 0 comma 47 comma 0 comma 47, these are the garbage value. These are the garbage value, initial value, which are anything. So these are the garbage values. Now if you want any locations, then how to just click on the add watch and write here single array sum of 1 first index. Okay, so what is the value at the first index? This is a 0th index 4 and 1 index 0, so 0 is there. Okay, so if you give only array sum, name of the array, then it gives you total array. If you want to give any particular array element at the index 1, so it gives you value 0. If the array index we want, for example, array sum of suppose fourth index. Fourth index is the last index of that array, so it gives you 47. Great. Now it's time to debug line by line or statement by statement. Next line, click on the next line. Now click on the next line. So enter 5 elements. Now check the value of I, it becomes 0, sum becomes 0. Okay, so I is equal to 0, 0 less than equal to 4, condition true means it goes to the inside the for loop. Yes, scanf. Now click on the next. Okay, so cursor is blinking here to take the values from user. Suppose user enters 10, press enter. So this 10 first value is assigned to the array 10. Okay, great. This is reflected 10. Now again click on the next line. So again scanning. So I have to enter 20 and press enter. Automatically this 20 is assigned to the array index of 1. So array sum of 1 gives you 20 value. Similarly, next line. So I becomes how what 2. So this scanf statement address of array sum of 2. These current values which we have to enter. Okay, that is saved into array sum of 2. Next line. So cursor is blinking. So I have to enter 30 and press enter. So 30 value is assigned to this 30. Okay, index 2. I's index is 2. If you want to next line, automatically I becomes 3. Now next line, then enter the value 40. Great. Again next line. Yes. So 50. So when I have entered 50, now what is the index next line? I becomes 5. 5 less than equal to 5. 4, condition false. Now it goes to the next for loop. Now again, I becomes, now it is currently 5, but when I have click on the next line, I becomes 0 first. So next line, so I become 0, 0 less than equal to 4, condition true. Then sum, what is the sum? 0 plus array sum of I. So what is array sum of I? Means array sum of first 0. So what is the value at the 0th index? So value at the 0th index is 10. Yes, 10. So 10 plus 0. Okay. So when I click on the next, 10 plus 0, that is 10. So sum is reflected as a 10. Again, next line. So sum is currently 10 plus array of 1. Array of 1, because I value of I is equal to 1 index. So array of 1, that is the 20. So 10 plus 20, it becomes 30. So now sum becomes 30. Clear? Next line, then sum becomes 60, then sum becomes 100, and at the last it becomes 150. Okay, click on the next line. At that time I is currently 4. Now when it increments, that is I plus plus, that becomes 5. 5 less than equal to 4, condition false, and cursor goes out of this loop. Now sum of all the array elements is equal to which value we want to print? Sum. So what is the current value of sum? 150. So 150 is displayed instead of percentage D. So next line. So let's check. Sum of all the array elements is 150. Great. Now stop execution. Yes. So debugging, you have to understand more how array looks like, what is the index, and how the value at that index is look like, what is the variable sum, what's the value gets changed. Yes, guys, any doubts? Yes, any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. So you have to repeatedly check this video, this lecture again and again. So you have to clear your all the concepts. If you have any doubts, you can call me or tell me at any time at the lecture time. Yes, I will do that as per my best knowledge. Okay. So there are 25 minutes is remaining. So this is the activity time. So today I have give one problem statement on the Moodle. You have to solve that. Okay. So first I will stop the recording.